Thank you. The item 16, the Local Government Funding Agency Annual General Meeting Voting Instructions. Just bring that up. Linda, would you like to just give a brief overview of this in terms of that a number of new colleagues won't know about the Local Government Funding Agency, so just a quick overview and the role that we're playing here at the Annual General Meeting.
Sure.
Thank you.
So the Council is a shareholder in the Local Government Funding Agency, and it is the provider of debt financing to all to member councils, which is almost all councils. So it's in an unusual situation where it is both the council itself is both an owner and a borrower and a guarantor of other councils' debt, and usually never the twain meet, because an owner wants to maximise the value of their investment, but a borrower wants to see lower interest rates. So the main principle behind setting up the LGFA was that it was to bring down the cost of borrowing for councils, and that's the preeminent goal. This paper in particular is about the annual general meeting, which is coming up in November. With the election time period and a lot of unknowns for us, we, prior to the election, sought some voting instructions for the reappointment of directors and the reappointment of councils to the advisory body known as the Shareholders' Council. I should maybe take a step back and say the Shareholders' Council has a number of member council representatives, and they act as an advisory body to all of the councils. So this council has a member on that committee. So we've already had decisions made on the reappointment of directors and on the reappointment of councils to the Shareholder Council. They've all, in both cases, they've retired by rotation and sought reappointment, and we received voting instructions to vote in favour at the LGFA. But when the agenda came out, there was much more on the agenda that we hadn't been able to anticipate, and this paper is seeking further voting instructions on those issues. The first issue is an increase in directors' fees. Every second year they do a review of directors' fees against the market. It's done independently, and they will, if it recommends an increase, they'll seek that by shareholder resolution at the AGM. It's seeking amendments to the LGFA's foundation policies, which is largely around the Treasury policies for dealing with now what's becoming quite a lot of bespoke lending, that's borrowing that's been sought by council. So it's outside of the usual tender rounds, which means that they've got a mismatch between their lending and back-to-back borrowing. And then there's changes to the shareholders' agreement, which largely relates to the new policy that's come in over the last year to 18 months, where they've been working through allowing CCOs to borrow directly from the LGFA rather than the council's borrowing and then on lending. And that's the sum of it.
Yeah, so we could have allowed myself and the Deputy Mayor to exercise the delegation, but because there's time, it's been brought to the meeting, and significantly because of the proposed increase, well, actually a relatively small increase in directors' fees, changes to the Local Government Funding Agency's foundation policies, and changes to the shareholders' agreement. But in terms of the extent of those, we're not talking about a massive reorganisation or a fundamental change. Again, because I'm just mindful of the fact that not all councillors are up to speed. I'm very comfortable with this, and I actually haven't had a conversation with the Deputy Mayor, but I'm assuming that he is as well. Yeah, so I'll move it in and or second it. So are there any questions of Linda? Yanni?
We can vote against certain elements of this. We don't need to vote for the whole thing, right?
Correct.
Cool.
You can vote for any or all of the resolutions sought.
Yep.
So you mean as an organisation when we go?
Yeah, well, yeah, obviously as an organisation, but also at today's meeting.
Oh. Each one separately? 1A, right, okay. No, that's fine. All right, Aaron?
Yeah, just only because it comes up here, but we, just on directors' fees, do we have kind of a limit policy that we accept on increases? Because in the years that's on the scale here, page 338 of our agenda, it's a 29.5% increase. Yeah, over 8 years. DHB's moved by none, just saying.
Sorry, I don't get your drift. That, that DHBs don't have.
Yeah, I know.
directors.
I'm just using that as an example, but
No, it's
the,
not a good one. Perhaps
not-
if you use the company register for directors' fees, because there has been a change, and these are professional directors. These are not people that are elected to.
or appointed, half them are appointed. but-
Yeah, I understand that. Are they
No.
paid less? Are they paid the same as councillors that are elected?
Yeah. So, but I just wondered, because you often hear from the public
I
of
thought the
complaints
chair
of
was
what.
appointed though.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
5 other government-appointed directors.
Yeah, and they are.
Yeah, chair is different, but
Yeah.
the
Okay.
yeah, just this feedback from the public. We are voting on an increase, and
No, we're one vote. We're not voting on an increase. We're voting whether we support or not a $5,000. Is it? Sorry, I haven't got.
yeah, but when all the leanings go off the cliff together, there's no leanings left. Is my point. If 2 of them stay back and go, hey, if we go back, we can make some more leanings, but.
So, all right. So,
It's just a question. Obviously, there is none. So that was all. It's just a question. Do we have a policy on what our percentage increases are? But if there is no limit, then that's fine.
we have a set of we have a set of expectations around people who sit on our boards,
Yeah.
and we communicate that to CCHL. And that expectation is that we are expecting people who sit as professional directors on company boards to provide for a discount for public service. Essentially, that's the model that we adopt.
Yeah.
This is a funding agency that we borrow through, and we are only one of the shareholders in that, and we get to exercise a vote. This has been through an independent review, which is why I'm supporting it. And but there is nothing wrong with individual councillors voting against the increase or any increase in directors' fees. I mean, we have taken I think a pretty good stance around this table, and that is that every single council appointee to a board does not take directors' fees. So I do not get paid directors' fees for sitting on the CCHL board. CCHL board makes a contribution directly to the Mayor's Welfare Fund. And I think that is a really principled way for our council to operate. It's never operated that way before, and I'm really proud of that achievement. So, but I'll be bringing that to council in another paper.
Yep.
People that stand on boards outside the council, that doesn't apply to them. So, it's there are.
I was just asking a question.
Yeah.
I do feel
And
like
I'm heading you in a direction that you may not want to go.
I'll
So,
withdraw the question.
No, you don't need to withdraw the question. You can just vote against the director's fees. Or you can offer up your DHC fees to the Mayor's Welfare Fund,
Yeah,
which will happily accept it.
Yeah, someone a year's parking.
Right. So I will. I'll put number 1 first. 1A first. So all those in. Well, why don't I do 1B and C, 2, 3. So I'll do everything except for A, and then I've got an entire. So do 1. Yeah, but you can't. Yeah, that's right. And right the way down. Yep. Okay, so I'll put that. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. And now I'll put the 1A. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. So that's Yanni, Jake and Aaron. Thank you. Opposed, so that's carried. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, I've got the next one as well, if you're moving in
Oh.
order.